Hello student, today's topic for discussion is organizational structure in school, college and university. Introduction. For the first time, Indian Education Commission, which is 1882, recommended that physical training be promoted in the interest of youth by the encouragement of native game, gymnastic, drill and other exercises which suited to each classes of a school. Thereafter, school and college began to take interest in physical education activities on a voluntary basis. In 1894, the questions of compulsory physical education was again considered at government level, but no definite policy would appear to have been formulated in this connection. Immediately after independence, the central government appointed a committee in 1948 under the chairmanship of Dr. Tarasan to examine the problem of secondary education and physical education also. The Government of India, Ministry of Education appointed in 1948 a commission with Dr. Radhakrishnan chairman to consider the problem of university education in India and make recommendation that college students should undergo a program of the physical education for the first 2 years. Government constituted the Central Advisory Board of Physical Education and Recreation in 1950. The important contribution of this board was the preparation of the National Plan of the Physical Education and Recreation, which contained the guidelines to state government for starting the teachers training program in physical education, syllabi in the physical education, organization in schools. The syllabus in physical education for high school and higher secondary school is prepared by the respective state board for secondary, higher secondary education. 3 or 4 periods a week are provided for this subject in the timetable. In school, physical education is a neglected subject simply for the 2 main reasons. Number 1, head of the institution or academic have scant respect for the sports activities. And number 2, physical education and the sports is not a priority subject. The physical education scenario in a school is utterly dismal and need revolutionary changes in regard to its organizational and functional aspect. The organizational setup for co-education school is an intermix of the ideal and the real. Depending upon the type of the school, its resources, facilities, personnel and even constraint a set up may be modified, it is expanded and squeezed without sacrificing the basic objective of the school's physical education and sports program. For example, a public school or a well-established Jain private school with numerous departments and sections may have an expanded organizational setup with independent in charges, coordinating link feedback channels, whereas a small government school with or without a physical education teacher may be one-man show. While conceptualizing the physical education setup for a school, it may be noted that schools work under numerous constraints, but they nevertheless are the cradle of athleticism and need special care. Several points in this proposed setup require detailed discussion for the sake of clarity. First, principal or headmaster. He or she is the highest academic and administrative authority in the school. The growth of the physical education and the sports in his school is largely due to his interest, initiative, and aptitude. Second, The physical education section, if headed by a single teacher out of to be directly under the head, then all the policy decision, direction, instruction, etc. should flow to other teachers in the sports or game committee through him. Third, as a democratic measure, the sportsman or game committee, it may consist of physical educators, interested academics, and possibly student leader for better management of facilities, equipment, and program. The term of the reference of the committee should include the program planning, budget formulation, purchase and disposal of sports equipment, organization of intramural and extramural play day, festival, etc. The chairman of the sports committee should invariably be principal or headmaster, and the senior physical education is the ex officio secretary responsible for maintaining a complete record of its proceedings and implementation of the official decision. From the viewpoint of the activity, the entire school should be divided in three major sections. It is middle section, girls section, and secondary or higher secondary, boys section. Each section being put under the charge of a competent physical educator. This is possible in a large institute where the number of PTs is more. This girls section should preferably be under the command of a female physical education teacher. This compartmentalization is not absolute but relative and also a matter of administrative convenience. Proper coordination and cooperation are essential for the success of this arrangement. An ideal organizational setup like this is flexible and cognate of the ground realities. Organizational structure in college physical education department. Except where physical education is a teaching subject, the college physical education department is a non-teaching department headed by the senior most teacher, generally known to the student as a DPE, Director of Physical Education. The number of physical education teachers in a college depends upon the student strength. An appropriate organizational setup for a college department of the physical education must be based on ground realities rather than utopian goal. No college can afford to have too many physical education teachers, but there ought to be a fairly good number of supporting staff whose services should be utilized for running activity routine, organizing tournament, and ensuring the care and maintenance of the sports infrastructure and equipment. The cooperation of their faculty members may be sought while organizing athletic meets, tournament, etc. The function of the various section ought to be coordinated at the level of either directed from the principal and implement the policy decision taken at the sports or physical education committee. Depending upon the resources, it may be at the modified level. Much of the success of the physical education and the sports program for the college should depend on the efficiency and the managerial ability of the collegiate department of physical education. Organizational structure in University Department of Physical Education. As the highest seat of learning, a university is an autonomous statutory complex structure of facilities, teaching and non-teaching department, research divisions, administrative offices, and welfare units, irrespective of their status, affiliating, residential, or institutionalized. All the universities have a department of physical education, usually headed by the director, with appropriate administrative setup. There are at least three types of physical education department in the existence in the universities in India. Number 1, non-teaching department, where functions and duties and responsibilities involve training, coaching, conduct of intercollegiate and or inter-university tournament, and sponsoring university team for inter-university competition. Next point, number 2, teaching department catering to academic of physical education. And number 3, composite department involving both administrative and academic responsibilities. Discussion on the present and proposed setup of each of these type of university department will be interesting and exciting. Number 1, organizational setup of the typical non-teaching department. It is almost universal with some variation here and there depending upon the certain local conditions and administrative factors. The total management of the physical education department based on the 3 keys figure, that is, a head bears the register for establishment, the finance wing for budgetary control, and sports committee comprising vice chancellor, syndicate members, college principals, administrative and financial personnel, student leader, and the director of physical education as the ex officio secretary for policy decision. The director of physical education is the managerial head of the department and is responsible for implementation of the sports policies and plan. His relationship with the physical education teachers of the affiliated college is based on mutual understanding and professional ethics. He does not overload them, although he commands veneration due to his superior position. The director of physical education performs all administrative functions such as the planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, budgeting, and communicating, and decision making, evaluating, etc. He is a de facto director in technical matter and professional concern, and a spokesman of the physical education at the various form of the university. Most universities have a non-teaching department of physical education. Even with the best possible service condition of the physical education personnel, there are a gray area in the organizational setup and functioning of the department. For example, the setup of the Department of Physical Education in all universities is not uniform. Conveniences, not convention, individual, not ideal, and prejudices, not priorities, generally weigh heavily with the university authorities for setting up and staffing the department. There is need to have a deputy director who should officiate in the absence of the director as well as coordinate various bursts down below. An assistant director or a deputy director ought to be appointed to look after the women's sports program because women problems are peculiar. Point number 2, the setup of a teaching department of physical education. It is more or less similar to that of any other academic department in the university, with professor or reader as the chairman, generally by the rotation, and several faculty members, professors, readers, lecturers, demonstrators, etc. Only a few selected universities have a teaching department of physical education, offering Bachelor of Master courses of physical education and the diploma courses in management and sports science. At times, the faculty extend helping hand to the university authorities, especially non-teaching department, in conduct of intercollegiate and or inter-university competition and sports festivals. Unless otherwise provided, the Department of the Physical Education teaching cater to professional academic with or without a separate faculty of physical education. The teaching department play important roles in designing curricula for professional courses, guiding research and organizing seminar, symposium, conference, etc. Next point number 3. A composite department combines. One of the advantages of the composite department is in the field of extension services. Students' help is readily available and utilized meaningfully. This saves expenditure and simultaneously an other opportunity to students to get work experience in laying out play field. Officiating matches, acting as a support system for the senior officials, controlling the spectators, etc. The organizational setup of a composite physical education department is likely to be more complex than that of a single objective department. Conclusion. Organizations run on the formal rules and procedures. It is memorandum, statutes, or constitution which invariably define inter alia aim and objective effective schemes of organization for management, clearly demarcate the authority and the responsibility. Coordination and cooperation are the mainstay of any good organization, and the organization must serve some social purpose. Organization is in the school, in the college, in the university, a department of physical education and a composite department, both administrative and academic responsibilities.